Greetings, I'm Joe from Needle in the Groove, and welcome back to yet another installment of Vertigo Swirls, international ones. You might have watched my previous videos. I have done three, I think, before. Yes, three, where in each of them I showed you 15, and this is the next installment, another 15. So I'm beginning to run out soon, but I think I have enough probably for one more. Just a little bit of, again, background about the Vertigo label, which, if you are regular watchers or if you're interested in the Vertigo swirl, I'm sure you already know. But anyway, for those of you who don't, it was a division of Philips, the Dutch conglomerate, and they in the late 60s decided that as the music styles were changing, were getting more progressive and a little bit more experimental, or a little bit more, let's say, daring, less poppy, they decided that they needed a different label to put those acts on. It wasn't a brand new idea. Other labels had already been doing it, like the Harvest label, for example, by EMI, or the Deram label by Decca. But anyway, maybe they copied it. They came up with this swirl design, which captured the imagination of us collectors. It's just cool when you see it spinning, and I remember when I was a young lad, and I had one of the old Black Sabbaths, and it was spinning. And I was looking at it. I was like, Christ, that's quite something. It's such a clever design. And it's so simple. I mean, it's black and white. There's nothing much to it. And yet, it's the most collectible of labels anywhere. And they can be very expensive. But these are international releases, which means they were never released in the UK under the Swirl label. A lot of them were released in the UK under the, the spaceship label, or UFO label, some people call it. It lasted from 69 till early 73, from late 69. The first release was the Valentine Suite by Colosseum. And the last one in early 73 was the Oobly Doobly Band by John Dummer. Then they switched to the spaceship label. But some other countries around the world, they took their time in switching. They carry on producing swirls. It went on till, in some countries, till the mid-80s, believe it or not. Britain finished in early 73, so another 12 years. And I think there is at least 150 swirls that exist, international ones. The UK releases, there were 88. I collect those too, by the way, and I'm down to my last 8 or 9 now. It's getting expensive, to be honest. But the international ones are not that expensive. There is a few, maybe a handful that can be quite pricey, but by and large, it's still very collectible. And so maybe this will inspire you to collect them. So let's get going. Right. The first one is a Black Sabbath. It's called We Sold Our Soul for Rock and Roll. It is a compilation from 1976. This is an Italian pressing. It's got all the goodies on it. Although it was 1976, I think it's mostly the first 2 or 3 records here that they included. You've got Black Sabbath, Paranoid, War Pigs, Iron Man, Children of the Grave, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. So yeah, it's a very good compilation. And on the swirl, well, here is it. Here it is. Italian pressing. So this is not so expensive. You can find this, maybe not in the UK, not so easily, but in Italy, maybe for about 30 quid or so. Another Black Sabbath. This is one of their studio albums, Technical Ecstasy. I think was the 6th maybe album, if I remember correctly. After Sabotage, this came out. And again, this came out in the UK on the Spaceship label, but in Italy, this is an Italian first pressing from 1976. Came out on the Vertigo swirl. This has got even the original printed inner. This is sort of cardboardish. And again, another Black Sabbath on the Vertigo swirl label. This is a bit rarer to find, but nevertheless not that difficult. I mean, again, if you are willing or to buy in Italy, the only problem is, of course, when you bring it in, okay, apart from the shipping costs that could be 15-20 pounds, there's VAT. There's a 20% VAT on top of it. It can make it a bit pricey. Now, the Baker Gurwitz Army. Not sure you're familiar with the Baker Gurwitz Army. This is blues rock. It was basically the two Gurwitz brothers. What were the name? Adrian and can't remember the other guy's name. They teamed up with Ginger Baker, and they made, I think, 3 records. And this is the second one they did, Hearts on Fire. It's a pretty decent listen, actually. It's nice blues rock, little proggy perhaps. And this is an Italian pressing from 1976. Again, this came out in the UK on the Spaceship, which I also have. There we go. Vertigo swirl label. Cool. Well, I haven't been collecting Vertigo swirls for that long, maybe a year and a half or so. I was watching YouTube videos and I was buying records all over the place, a little sort of aimless, whatever I liked, I just bought. And then I decided I need to focus a little bit on something. I need a collection within a collection, if you like. And I was watching YouTube videos and I saw Mr. Vertigo, they call him, Barry Winton. So I was listening to him talking about the Vertigo swirls. Then I saw the Vinyl Hunters, Jake and Papa Dave. Particularly Jake, very enthusiastic about his Vertigo swirls, and I thought, okay, I'll give it a go. I'll start. Foolishly, it's been costing me a lot of money, but hey, what do? You gotta have fun. And actually, talking about Jake, Vinyl Hunters, I'm just buying his To the Lodge, or actually I have bought it. It's To the Lodge, which he featured in one of his videos. He traveled miles to go and pick it up. And he found another one, which is maybe slightly better condition and willing to part with his first one. And I bought it off him, and he's actually coming to visit me in a couple of weeks' time. So I look forward to that. Right. This is Green Slade. Now, Green Slade, if you're not familiar with Green Slade, Dave Greenslade, he was the original keyboard player, organist of Colosseum. And he is pretty damn good, and I would say underrated. It's really a bit of a crime because he's such an underrated organist, and he's brilliant, and he's produced under the name Green Slade several albums. This is probably the third or something from 1975. This is a Dutch first pressing from 1975. Sorry, from 1975. Here it is. I've got this also on the Spaceship, which I bought back in the day, when it came out in 1975, and I knew nothing about it then, but I like the artwork. I mean, it's great, isn't it? Look at that. And here we are. Here's an excellent album. Swirl or not, I would still recommend you to get this. Come on. Green Slade. Now, another one you may not expect to see on a swirl is Dire Straits making movies. I mean, you may know that Dire Straits were signed on the Vertigo label, and of course, by the time they came out in the UK, it had long been the Spaceship. But as I said, in other countries, you know, there was still, I mean, this is a Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong first pressing from 1980. It's the only place that was actually pressed on the Vertigo swirl was in Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong, nowhere else in the world, I believe. This is in excellent condition. This probably was hardly played, whoever had this. And I did find this from a seller in Hong Kong, and I imported it. So, making movies. Incidentally, this album, this was the very, very first CD I bought when the CD came out in 1983. The very first CD I actually listened to was Making Movies, and you know, it's got Romeo and Juliet on it, and that was the very first track I heard, and I was like blown away by the CD, by the sound of the CD. And for the next few years after that, I was just buying CDs, and I neglected my beloved vinyls. And then, of course, eventually I got back to them, and now I've got both. This is a very obscure one, which you probably would never have heard of him, Kiyoshi Hasegawa. In my previous videos, I showed you probably one in each of them. He's got a ton of swirls, Japanese swirls. Can you see here all the Japanese writing? There. Can't understand the thing. However, it is a swirl. And musically, well, I mean, I bought this for collection purposes, to be honest, not so much to listen to. It is pop, folky pop, basically. I mean, he's not bad. He's got a nice voice, but he sings in Japanese, so don't really care so much about it, but never mind. This one, Brave New World, was a studio project. It was a German band. This is called, what's it called? I can't really see. Impressions on reading Aldous Huxley. Impressions on reading Aldous Huxley. It's so faint in red here, you can hardly see it. This is not a first pressing. It is a Vertigo swirl, but it is a German unofficial release from 2010. But it does exist as a swirl from 1970, probably 3 or 4. And an original of those is actually very expensive. That could set you back £500 to £800. It's hard to find. It's rock, crowd rock, you know, typical sort of German early 70s stuff. If you like that, I quite like German crowd rock. I got a separate collection there with probably about more than 200 albums, all crowd rocks and stuff, because I, even though I'm Italian by birth, I actually grew up in Germany. I did all the educational year in Germany, so up to the age of mid-20s, and so I grew up with that sort of music, and so yes, I collect it. The sensational Alex Harvey band. There you go. You know, they got several on the swirl. Most of them were issued, pressed in Italy or in Holland. This is an Italian first pressing from 1976. It's called the Penthouse Tapes. There we go. Alex Harvey band. It's rock. It's pretty decent. Excuse me. Now, promise you, this is an unexpected bit of a cracker. This is. Everybody knows this one. Everybody knows In the Court of the Crimson King, the first, maybe a lot of people would say this is the first prog album ever made. I wouldn't agree with it so much, because I think Moody Blues made one in 1967. Days of Future Past, I would say that is mostly prog. And even in Search of a Lost Chord in 1968. However, this pushed the boat out in terms of prog. It is a anyway. Obviously, in UK, this came out on the Island label, but the only country that issued this on the swirl was New Zealand. Nowhere else. In New Zealand, you will see that it hasn't got the full swirl on the A side. It's twice like that. And in my first and second videos, I showed you the second and the third King Crimson album. The second in the wake of Poseidon, and the third one, Lizard. Both of them were also issued on the swirl label in New Zealand. That trio of albums. And back then, when I showed you the others, I didn't have this, and I finally found it. You know, been searching and looking, and I managed to find it and pounced on it. And it came from an Australian seller. And yeah, I had to pay a bit of money for it, but I've got the trio now, so I'm happy. Right, here is another Dire Straits, Love Over Gold on the swirl. You know, this is again a Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong first pressing from 1982. See, 82, they were still making swirls. There we go. Love Over Gold. It's got a lyrics in it as well, this one. There. Very good, very nice. And I really like Dire Straits. I mean, who doesn't like Dire Straits? I mean, you know, they sound good, they're very well produced, and you know, that guitar played by Knopfler is something else. Now, here's one that maybe you don't know. It's Lucifer's Friend. Now, Lucifer's Friend is a heck of a rock band. I mean, it is really serious rock. I mean, honestly, check it out. They made quite a lot of albums. It is German. It's a German band, but fronted by a British singer, none other than John Lawton, who went to Uriah Heep for a few years. Yeah, he's a singer. And this is a Spanish first pressing from 1972. Lucifer's Friend, I think I've got 2 or 3 on the Vertigo swirl. I haven't got the others yet. Let me see through here. Okay, I'll open it for you. Why not? Here we go. Yeah, Spanish. So yeah, I mean, swirls were released in all sorts of countries. I mean, you know, even in Israel, in India, and in South American countries like Venezuela and Chile, and so it's amazing how it was. Obviously, Philips being a global company, you find them everywhere. Right, another one. Here we go. Nucleus, Under the Sun. Again, this came out in the UK under the Spaceship. The first 3 Nucleus, I think it was the first 3, came out in the UK with a swirl label before they switched. But in other countries, like Italy, for example, they carried on. Probably made at least another 4 or 5 Nucleus with a swirl, and I've shown some before. This one is, again, it's an Italian first pressing. It's actually a promo from 1974. I love Nucleus. I mean, I love jazz rock kind of fusion. It's one of my favorite genre, apart from prog rock. But I would say that this one is probably not quite as strong as some of his others, but it's not bad by all means. Right, Atlantis. Are you familiar with Atlantis? You might have seen the Atlantis, self-titled, which is a single sleeve red, and that was one of the last ones that were released in the UK under the Swirl label. And this one is the follow-up one. It's a German first pressing from 1973. It's a German rock band, pretty damn good too. Fronted by Inga Rumpf is her name, and she was quite a rock lady. I mean, she had a gravelly voice, and my word, I didn't, she's quite a handful, that woman, or was. She's 80 now, can you believe it? Oh. But they were a really, really strong band. They were formed out of the ashes of Frumpy. Are you familiar with Frumpy, maybe? That was Inga Rumpf's previous band, and then they disbanded, and then she created Atlantis with Jean-Jacques Cravetz, I believe, who is a French, might be Swiss, keyboard player. But yeah, check it out. Swirl or not, this is serious good rock. Right, got two more. Another Baker Gurvitz Army. This is their first one and the self-titled album. As I said, it is blues rock. Right, it's Paul Gurvitz is the other guy. Paul and Adrian Gurvitz are brothers with Ginger Baker. In fact, all three albums they made are available on this as well. I've got them all. Right. And the last one, Thin Lizzy. Again, another band that was signed on Vertigo, on the Vertigo label. Thin Lizzy, this is Johnny the Fox. Yeah, this is an Israeli first pressing from 1976. Very hard to find, I have to say, because I don't think anywhere else it came out anywhere else on the Swirl label. I think it might have been just, I may be wrong, but I think it was just Israel. Possibly India, but I will have to look it up on that. Still hard to get. Here it is, Israeli. By the way, I did not buy it in Israel. I don't think I dare buy anything from Israel, because you never know whether it's gonna arrive or not. I found this from an Italian seller in Italy. So here we go. This is the 15, and if you don't mind subscribing, it will just help that YouTube will spread the video out a bit more to more people, and the more subscribers there are, it does help, you know. And I would like more people to access. You know, this is nice information to have, and if it inspires you to start a collection of international swirls, great. Let me know if you want any tips, any hints how to go about it. You know, write to me, let me know. And also, if you enjoyed the video, I'd like to hear from you. Thank you very much indeed. And to the next one. Goodbye.